Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. This is my spoiler-free review. I will be giving a spoiler-filled review with all my thoughts and everything that I've been thinking about ever since I saw it yesterday, December 17th at 7:30 p.m. Well, actually, that was when the preview started, but hey, whatever. I got to see it. It was good. It wasn't awesome. It wasn't perfect, like some people have been saying, and I do want to bring that across. But it is the solid, good Star Wars movie that we have been waiting for since 1999 for some of us, including myself, and for others that they've been waiting for since 1983. So it was a blast of fresh air. I really want to go into so many things, but I'm going to focus on the movie. That's primarily what this needs to be about, because there are some people on the fence going into this movie. I don't know if they are anymore, because there's really been a lot of praise for this movie. It's out there. I knew going in. I had already seen 2 reviews that said it was good, and those were the only 2 reviews I saw, but they both said it was good. So I was having good feelings going into it, and I was glad not to be disappointed. And yeah, it was a great experience being with so many like-minded people. It was awesome cheering at seeing the old characters come back, but I'm getting slightly distracted. I'm going to come back to all of that in some later videos. A lot of Star Wars videos are going to be coming up soon. I hope to be doing a lot more. I have this weekend off, so yeah, something to look forward to. But anyways, a lot of the things within The Force Awakens are going to feel very familiar. This is a strength and a weakness of the movie. Many things that are the strengths within the movie are also weaknesses. There are certain parts of the plot that are very familiar, that they brush very familiar of Episode 4, A New Hope, but they do a good enough job of mixing in the new as well as mixing in with plot points from 5 and 6. You kind of get a vibe from all those movies, but it definitely draws from Episode 4 more than any of the other ones. And I did personally find it a little disappointing. That's why I said it's a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's a good movie with some flaws. But I feel it was also something that they had to do. They had to reassure us, so they kind of use they use a lot of familiar things that we know from the original trilogy to give us that sense of comfort, and a sense of comfort they did. I mean, there's still a new, fresh edge to everything, but the practical effects are awesome. The CGI is not overused. It is used as it should be. Things feel very authentic as opposed to the prequels, especially Episode 2 and 3, which just felt absolutely fake. Episode 1 still had some moments of realism, but just using natural locations, using practical effects. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about the feel of Star Wars. I don't know if I was so huge into that. The main thing for me with the prequels is that, especially in Episode 2 and 3, the environments just felt fake. It didn't feel like a real place. It just felt like, I don't know, it's really hard to describe. I'll get more into it when I do reviews of those movies. But Episode 7 was a return back to, wow, this is a real place. That's the feeling I'm getting. I'm like, this is something that's really happening, which is something that I know I felt, and I know a lot of other people felt with the original trilogy. These places felt like real places. We were really invested, and the characters did a lot too. The acting wasn't wooden, as was the case with the prequels. I didn't really notice any gimmicky or weak sort of acting, as was evidenced in the prequels, definitely, but even popped up now and then in the originals. I feel to be a bit at a loss, because I've seen all the Star Wars movies multiple times, and I've only seen Episode 7 once, so I also feel like I'm forgetting a lot of things, and I'm not going to be doing the movie justice. So I'll probably be doing another review once it has come out, so I can kind of watch it a few times to get a better assessment of the movie. But it's basically the perfect combination of new meets old, and they did it in pretty much the right amount of way. And another thing I really have to comment on is the humor in this movie. It seems more pronounced than the other movies, and it wasn't stupid humor. It was just things that occurred naturally. I enjoyed all of it, although I will admit that I felt like they were getting close to having too many humorous moments. Granted, they were natural. And just so you know, I don't feel that it was too many, but they were kind of getting to the point. They were right there where I was thinking, oh, you might want to lay back on the humor just a little bit. They were getting to that point where it's like the humor was really good, but maybe if you just did 2 or 3 jokes less, everything would have been fine. I mean, like I said, I don't think it really takes away from the movie at all. However, you don't want your audience thinking about that, being distracted, being broken from the immersion of your story. So a hope of mine for episode 8 would be that there's a slight less amount of humor. I actually really, 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 really enjoyed the amount of humor that was in there, but I just don't want them to, take it overboard, sort of a thing. And I do feel confident in that. It seems that our trust has been well placed, and they were going to be very careful of us not getting burned a second time. And that's another thing. Episode 7 feels like a very safe movie, but I totally understand why they did that. I mean, my synopsis for Star Wars Episode 7 would be, it is the movie that we needed. I think it's probably going to be the weakest movie of this new trilogy, the sequilogy, whatever you want to call it. But this is the movie that they had to make this transition phase of dealing with the mess that was the prequels and transitioning from the originals. There are certain parts where it's not at its strongest. Definitely the plot of the movie is not the strongest. I love the new characters. BB-8 is awesome. Rey and Finn are awesome. Kylo Ren is an interesting character. I heard a lot of them saying he's a sympathetic villain. I don't really see that. I don't have any sympathy for him, but it's interesting, and I can't wait to find out what's going to happen in Episode 8, because I think there's going to be a lot of more backstory. It was really awesome. It was cool to see all the old characters. And yes, Luke Skywalker is in the movie. I will not tell you in what capacity, but he is in the movie. All right? So don't you worry. It wasn't all for naught. The special effects were really good. I really liked how much the new movie tapped into the inspiration for the Empire, which, if you didn't know, was Nazi Germany. It definitely feels more Third Reich-ish than it did in the original trilogy, and it kind of gives a very, very much of a creepiness to it. It was good, and Andy Serkis's character, who I really look forward to seeing more of in the next episode, Supreme Leader Snoke. Chillingly good. Very, very good. Can't wait to talk about his character more. Can't wait to talk about all of them. There's just so much to go over. I feel like I'm rambling, but if you haven't seen Star Wars, if you even remotely call yourself a Star Wars fan, do yourself a favor and watch this movie. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. I promise you. I do understand that there's problems, but Star Wars is back. The Force is back with Star Wars. And hopefully this is a sign of good things to come with the spin-off movies. Definitely for Episode 8 and Episode 9, it bodes well for that. And hopefully it bodes well for other spin-off material in other areas, such as TV, games, books, and comics. So, yeah, the future looks bright with Star Wars. It was a great grand time. I'm going to get into it more into another video. But, yeah. It's just, I don't know, there are no words to describe it. It's just a breath of fresh air. It's so awesome. It's Star Wars. Star Wars is back, baby. Woohoo! Go out, enjoy it, have a good time with your family. If you don't like the crowds, just wait a week or two. I hope it's already broken records. I'm sure it's going to break some more. I can't wait to see what the future holds for Star Wars. Anyways, this is the OutcastWriter, and remember, what we create matters.